Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are observants and we are live. I would like to welcome you to our free virtual enterprise summit. And also I would like to welcome our guests. So James, thank you so much for joining us. Dan and Charlie, hello, how are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Veronica.
Thank you so much. I am really pleased that we have such a great team here now. So I would like to quickly introduce you to James. So James is my awesome colleague based in Bangkok. So James is responsible for Asia and Middle East area. So feel free to contact him in case of any questions, requests, just anything. Also then, I would like to introduce you to our great CEO of Observance. Dan is based in Prague and he oversees everything from there. My name is Veronica. I am based in the Czech Republic as well. So feel free to contact me also if you have any questions or any comments and interest in European training, just anything like that. And the last one, it's our admin technical specialist, Charlie Love. Hi, Charlie. Charlie is based in Aberdeen and he's going to present the training today. So you can see we have prepared really great theme for today. So you can it's going to be really interesting for you. Before we really start, I would like to say huge thanks to our great partner, Acer. We are really Acer Chromebook users, fans, and we use those devices. So we highly recommend them. And thanks to Acer, we are able to run these free events. So thank you so much. If you want to, I would really highly recommend that. Feel free to submit this survey. You have a chance to win a free ticket for our upcoming events. We would be really happy if you follow us on via social media, so you can see our links here. Maybe I would like to ask you, James, could you tell us a bit more about ISTE certification, because you are the expert?
Thanks, Veronica. So a little over 12 months ago, AppsEvent's partner company, AE Learning Lab, became a ISTE certification partner, and we're delivering ISTE certifications, especially for the Middle East, Europe, and California. We got several dates upcoming, so just go to www.aelearninglab.com to check that out. And another exciting course that we're announcing for January 22 is a data literacy course for schools, and specifically harnessing the power of Data Studio. So a little bit of a background. Obviously, schools are dealing with more and more data, and then Charlie Love, our expert here, will be talking about this in a moment. This course is designed for schools who really want to do more with their data, understand what does their data mean, how can they collect their data and clean it up, but more specifically, how can they unwrap the story behind the data and understand what the data is telling you. We're going to be officially announcing the course very shortly, and that will be going live in January 22. If anybody has any questions, if they want to send a few people from their school, please reach out. Drop me an email at james@appsevents.com.
That sounds really interesting, James. Well done. Yeah, and another really important and interesting thing is the Google Workspace Education Plus. So feel free to send us your requests. We are more than happy to get a free trial for you. Dan, would you like to say a bit more words about it?
Yeah, just to explain quickly. So Google Workspace, there's obviously a free version. It's now called Google Workspace for Education Fundamentals. But there's a couple of premium versions. One is called Standard, which gives you some security and admin features. And one is called Plus, which gives you all the security and admin features, plus it gives you all the teaching and learning stuff. So it gives you all the meat features like breakout rooms, like recording. It gives you some great Google Classroom coming soon. You can sync your student information system, your management information system with Google Classroom. A lot of add-ons, really cool features. If you want to try it, we can set it up, no obligation, 60-day trial. If you don't want to go ahead with it, we just turn it off after 60 days. You can try all the features live for some users, 50 users in the school. So let us know. We're a Google partner for this worldwide. So we're setting schools up all across the UK, across America, and we work with international schools. I know a lot of our audience is international schools all across the world. So get in touch and we can give a free trial. It's well worth checking out, even if it's just something you may be interested in for the future. You don't lose anything by just trying it for 60 days. So thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. So, and now I really don't want to take your time. I think that everyone is ready for the session. So Charlie, feel free to join and start. Yeah. And also I would like to mention to everyone, if you have any questions, any comments, feel free to use the chat on the side. And also if you like this free summit, and I believe you love it, feel free to put the like button just down. Thank you so much and enjoy it.
Great, thanks, Veronica. Thanks for that great introduction. Thanks, guys, for the sharing where we are at the moment. So this is a really neat thing, right? Because it's Google announced several months ago a number of updates that were coming, and these were updates around basically being able to take your data and put that data from the admin console and put that data into BigQuery, and then there was going to be a template that you could use to get that kind of a visual analysis of your data, to learn more about it and find out more about that data. Just 2 seconds. Yeah, and so what Google has now done is, as of the 9th of this month, there's a blog post that shares that this information is now live, and you can create a Data Studio dashboard for viewing and getting insights about Google Classroom. But you can also, and you can export your data from the admin console into BigQuery and how to set up. So I thought it would be useful today just to go through, discover how you can export that data from the admin console to BigQuery, how to get that Google Classroom Data Studio template, because it's not in the templates gallery just yet. And then how you can use Data Studio to get the insights into your organization and how you use Google Classroom. And I thought, just if we have time, we'll touch on maybe another template that's available, which is about Google Meet recordings and views. So if you have Education Standard or you've got Education Plus, you'll be the ability to record Google Meet. And if you record Google Meet, then you can actually share those videos and get further value from them. So there's another Data Studio template that gives you insights into Google Meet as well. So hopefully with time, and we'll try and get through it real quick, so you can see all of these things. And we maybe have at the very end, maybe just have a few signposts of some other tutorials that we've done that are online in some of the Apps Events channels, which will show you how to do some other interesting things around analytics. So I'm just going to just let you know about the blog post that was available from Google in the Google Workspace updates. So if you want to go and look at the blog post, that's a quick link to it there. There's a QR code too. It takes you through the whole process. And what's important in the blog post is there is the link to the template for Data Studio that you would need. And as I say, that template isn't kind of in the Data Studio templates gallery yet, but you can get it from that blog post. And I've actually got, in a minute or two, I've got a short link to that template as well that you'll be able to use. But the process here is pretty straightforward in that you can create a project in Google Cloud for BigQuery. You can then add a user to that will be able to access the project, BigQuery project, from your admin console, and then you can then link that BigQuery data through to Data Studio. I'm going to show you how that all goes together today. It's already set up in the one that I'm going to show you, but I'm going to show you how you would put it together and how that would work. Okay. So to get it set up, pretty straightforward. First thing is about setting up a BigQuery project. You can do that in the Google Cloud Console. Good to know that you get 10 gigs of data free for that. You can also set up the Cloud Console in a sandbox mode so that you won't get charged as well. So there's a sandboxing ability there that you can set up, and you can find more about the help online around how to set up BigQuery in Sandbox if you need to do that. You might need to enable billing, but there's also a trial period available at the moment. I think it's 90 days. So you'll get a free 90-day trial as well with Google Cloud when you set that up. But you can set up the BigQuery project, and doing that is relatively straightforward. I'm just going to share my screen and show you how that works. Okay. So hopefully, can someone just add me back in on the screen share, please, guys? Thanks. Ooh. Thank you. Brilliant. Okay, so this is the original blog post that I was mentioning earlier that's available. It takes you through, and we'll get a look at the template and so on a bit later on. And the information that you need is in here. And as I say, we've got a link to that in the presentation earlier there. But to set up a project is actually relatively straightforward. So what I've done here is I've just gone to, let's go there actually now, console.cloud.google.com. And to set up a new project, once you're signed in and you've got the billing and such enabled and so on, you can actually just click in your projects at the top, and you can create a new project, and you can just create that demo project that you want, create that, and then the only other thing that you need to do is add this special user that can then create and do the rest of the project for you. So all you need to do is just go to the I am an admin settings. Ooh. I need to choose the project I've just created. So let me just go into there. There it is. I need to go into my I am an admin settings for that project. So once you're in here, you can add an account. And you can choose a role. So you can just type in, this is what's called a service account. And it's just GApps reports at system.gserviceaccount.com. And we're just going to give that one of the basic roles that's available. I'm going to make it an editor. So that's all I need to do to set up the project. It's not a big deal to set up that project. It's relatively straightforward. That sets up the project. And then I just need to go back to my admin console. So in the admin console, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add, I would just add that project. So the project I've created there for this instance has a project ID. Just so that you know, if I go to my project, here's the project here. This is the project ID that I would need to use. Now I actually have another project already set up for this, but I'll show you what it looks like in the admin console. So to add the export, all you need to do is just go to reporting, and then you just click on BigQuery export, and you'll have that enabled. Oh, I'll need to just verify who I am. And you'll have that enabled if you've got Education Standard, Education Plus to do those BigQuery exports. Now, to just let you see what I've done, I've added the project ID here. I've set a name for the data set. And that's all I've done. So I've just added the project ID. If I was changing it, I would change it to the project ID that I just created. So remember this is your project ID. It's not the project name. You always need to get the project ID. Add my project ID, and then I would choose a name for the data set that I'm going to use. If you want to, you can restrict the location of the data. So you can make the data restricted to the US or to the EU, depending on what your sort of data governance arrangements are. Okay. So
Charlie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Charlie. Can I just jump in there for a second? Obviously, this is quite technical. Can a teacher run this report, or which user class can actually run this report?
So you'd be best to run this. This needs to be set up for your admin, because it's going to give you data across all of your Google domain. So it's going to surface everything that you've got going on, all of your teachers, all of your students, everything is going to be included in this. So really, it's that super admin level user that should be setting this up. But the insights that you get, what you get in Data Studio, can actually be shared then. That could be shared with teachers, that could be shared with senior leaders, and so on as needed. So the technical bit, that's for your admin, your IT support and such. But the insights, that's where you get, that's really for your school leadership, I would say, and those supporting teachers as well.
But I think
with this setup part,
as well. Sorry, James.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the setup part, because obviously it looks like a lot of fields to go through. Do you need to manipulate the data or the database or anything like that, or is it just the ID that we need to the project ID that we need?
You need the project ID and you need the name for the data set, and that's all that you need to do in terms of actually it being created. Because that service account that I added in my Google project, in the cloud project that I did at the beginning, that service account does all the heavy lifting for us. So it'll do the configuration, it'll do the setting up of the tables, it'll do all of that for you, and transfer that data through on a schedule of once every 1 to 3 days. It will transfer that data and put the data through to BigQuery.
Yeah, I was just going to add that, I mean, obviously, like Charlie said, you have to be an admin to do this. But if you are like a technical teacher or staff member who wants to learn more about this, speak to your admin, because you could get given admin access for certain functionality like this. You don't have to work in an admin role. Just to be clear, if you are interested in this, get in touch with whoever manages your Google domain. I know plenty of teachers and other staff members who have some admin privileges in the school domain.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next part, now what we've done now, we've set up the cloud project. We've got the data funneling through and going into the cloud project in BigQuery. So the next part is really just about setting up Data Studio to accept that data and pull that data across, and pulling that data across in real time. So in the blog post that's signposted there, there is a link to the Data Studio report template here. And when you click on that, it will take you here. And this is a copy of the data report that's actually running. And you can look at this, you can review the data that's in here in this kind of sample report that's running. You can get lots of insights into classroom activity, the timeline of the classes that are running. And there's a view for teachers, students, and classes. And we'll maybe have a little look at that in just a second. But I'll talk about the mechanics of how you get your data into that template. So in order to do that, it is just to use, you would just click Use Template, which will allow you to create a copy of it. And then you're going to choose a data source. Now, you can create a new data source for this purpose. So you would click Create Data Source. You would then go to BigQuery. It will show you your projects. This was the project I just created, right? So I could choose that project if the data was in there and use that project. So just really a couple of clicks, and that's the project I made. I actually have the data already in this project, and that was the table, the data set that I used to store the data. And the table I'm going to use is the activity table. And the last bit, and the bit that you mustn't forget, because it's what drives all the date filters in the report in Data Studio, is you want to go and use the partition time. Partition time is just the time that sample of data went into the database. So we're going to use that as our date range dimension, and then we're just going to connect it. So that creates a data source that we can then use in the report. And it's just updating for me while we're doing that. So it's not too, I mean, I know it's a technical thing, you know, because you are talking about tables and data and such, but you're not having to do the real heavy lifting here. It's just using the report. Now there's James and I were mentioning this earlier, weren't we? It's 658 data fields, so there's lots of information in here around how all of the services are being used across your domain. And there's everything in here from classroom that we're focused on just now, but there's also lots of other information that's in the BigQuery data sets that could be looked at in other ways if you wanted to build something in Data Studio. So if I add that to the report, that the tables appeared here, and I can just copy that report. And that's it in terms of me getting this report into Data Studio and the data into Data Studio, and that is the report, and it's now live with the data that I had in BigQuery, the data that's coming straight out of my admin console. Yeah, so this is the kind of report that you'll get. As a school leader, you can kind of see the active teachers, active students. You can see how that goes up and down over time as well. There's the opportunity to look at assignment and assignment returns and turned in, how that works out in terms of the numbers and dates when that happens. And it's interesting if you can go into, for example, if I click view to actually view the report, I can go into, for example, let's go into students. And this is based on a demo domain that's running. So it's querying the data in real time. So it's going away and looking at that data. And here I've got Harry Potter and Ginny Weasley, and the number of turned in assignments, the number of late submissions, the activity that's there. But I can filter that down, and I can go and I can look at, I could look at one student, for example, look at only that particular student. So you can get, and you can go down to quite a lot of detail. And you can do that also. You can go and look at classes and look at course activity. So, how many teachers joining a class, students joining the class, and you can get kind of information there. And you can look at the number of assignments turned in, the number of assignments returned. You've got lots of stuff turned in, but nothing returned. What's happening with that work? If you're not getting anything returned, what's happening with turned in? What's happening with a follow-up with that? So there's lots of things you can learn from this report, and it's really useful, and it's pretty new out. As I say, 9th of September was kind of when it was announced the template was made available. So lots of folk know it's coming, but now they know how to get it and how to set it up. And I don't think it's too much of a challenge. I think folk can easily manage to do that at whatever scale they are.
Thanks, Charlie. So just very quickly, what about sharing this report? Are you then only able to view the report if you're a super admin, or what would be the next steps with that?
So for sharing the report, there is, just like every Data Studio report, you can share that to specific individuals. So you can choose who you want to share it with. You could share it across your domain. I wouldn't suggest you do that, but you could share it with your school leadership as necessary. You can invite people into that report. Just with the share button, and just go ahead and if I wanted to share it with you, James, I could just share that and give you the option to view that report, or I could give you the option to also edit and manage it if you wanted to make changes to it too. So yeah, I think it's a great report to give you insight into what's happening in Google Classroom. I know throughout lockdown, I would have loved to have had this available to me to help me monitor what's happening with activity. I kind of built some other things to do that, and kind of other dashboards, similar kind of things to this. But having this is a really succinct dashboard that really works well, I think.
And it does look very technical, but I can testify that I actually set this up on a domain last week, and it took maybe 10, 20 minutes. And it can be done by mere mortals, not just by Charlie Love.
Yeah, it is one of those. I mean, I'm confident that most folk could manage this. The blog post is really good. There's some nice step-by-step instructions in there just to take you through kind of what you need to do. There's some nice help online, so the resources are there to help you do it. And of course, now you'll have the video of this session as well, which hopefully will make it clear about how that goes through. So just to kind of wrap us up, I did promise some bonus features if we've got enough time, guys.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Okay, right. So as well as having this in Data Studio, inside Data Studio in the templates, you go to template gallery. There's also an additional. It comes under BigQuery, but it's actually what it actually uses in the end. It actually uses a spreadsheet and a Google Sheet to do this. So you can open up this Google Workspace Meet recording insights, and there's a step-by-step guide here. So this is another one that's really straightforward to do. But you can download your Drive audit logs. So if you're an admin, you'll be familiar that you've got audit logs in the admin console, and you're able to go into those audit logs just under audit, and you can go into those Drive audit logs. Just leave that. And you can run a search and be able to download essentially the details of people accessing Google Meet recordings and people saving Google Meet recordings. So you just add a couple of filters. If I remember rightly, it is, let me just remember rightly so I get it right, because I always forget. So we're just going to do, it's just item name contains MP4 video, Charlie. And then you just add item type. Item type needs to contain GMT, because all the Google Meet video files, sure that's right. What's item type? Other way around. I've done the other way around. There we start again. So it is item type. I need to have MP4 video. Did say it was easy. Maybe not sure now. And then item name needs to contain GMT, because all the Google Meet recordings are recorded with GMT at the end of them. The file name's got that. So you can run that query inside the admin log, and then you can go and you can actually click here and request to download the file, right? So you can request to download the file and you'll get that file. So then once you've done that, you can run through a process here of making a copy of this template, and you can link it back to that file as a data source. Just in the same way I showed you before, you could create and add a data source. And what that then does is, if I go back to Data Studio, because just in best admin fashion, I've already created one. So this is a demo one that I've just created, the same thing using the Google Meet. And what we can see here is I can get a timeline of recordings across a particular date range. So it's just going back and it's querying that data set. So I see these are all the recordings I've got of meetings. I've got the total views of the files as well. I can see the activity by days. So the number of recorded files, total views up here, number of recordings here. And I can see who's our high users and so on. And I can filter all that. So it's, again, if you're recording Google Meet as part of learning and teaching, if you're recording that as part of your organization for communication, you can actually then share those files for people to review later, to come back and access them. And you can then get some insights into that just here. So I think that's just a useful additional thing that folks can have a look at in terms of just getting some insight into Google Meet. And it's available as a template as well in Data Studio.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Charlie. That's awesome. And I suppose you could do this with Google Meet audit log as well, couldn't you? So, I mean, obviously you showed this about recordings, which is fantastic. But could you do something similar for every Google Meet that happened in your organization?
Yeah, you could probably, if you've got the data, because you have the data that you've got available, you've got that meeting of, when meetings happen and people left and joined them, then using Data Studio, you could aggregate that data to give you meaningful insights. So you could show, you could have a dashboard that counts the number of separate meeting codes, which would give you the total number of people that joined the meeting if you filter the data in a particular way. So yeah, it's really powerful what you could do from the data sets you've got available.
And I guess this is probably a little bit beyond what we're looking at, but could you also, so obviously you exported the data there to Google Sheets or via CSV, either way. Could you also get that data through BigQuery so it updates automatically?
Yeah, so there's Meet data also will go into the BigQuery export, so you'll have some data that's available there. So anything in that BigQuery export, you could build a link through to that data, aggregate it through the Data Studio, and make it visible. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, Charlie. You're a brave man doing this live, Charlie. Well done.
Well, the next one I've got another. I'm just going to just quickly switch just to finish up, because there's a couple other things that you may be available, folks, that we've got some admin videos that we've been doing every couple of months, every month, and some of those admin videos probably worthwhile being shared. Oh, that's a neat question we've got coming in. How do you see it being used weekly, monthly? How are you using it or planning to use it? I think this is about, if it's about the Meet reports, that's really about just visibility around activity. So if you're creating content from Google Meet and sharing video content back to students or back to people within your organization, you kind of want to know that it's having an impact, that people are watching that content and are engaging with the content you're creating. Otherwise, why create it, right? So this gives you that kind of feedback about, are people engaging with your content? But you can also drill down to find whose content are they engaging with the most. So which meetings recorded by which staff, for example, are people coming back to view more often, and so on. So there's a range of things that you could pull out of it. But yeah, I think you would review it as appropriate to your organization. Yeah.
Great.
Okay, I'm going to just stop sharing that and just jump across again to our slide deck and just talk about a couple of things. So, grand. Can you have me back in, guys? Thanks.
Oh, sorry. I think Dan and I did at the same time.
I'll come back in. Yeah, it's great.
Some coordination.
I don't know who's driving.
I think Veronica's getting involved as well.
Okay, brilliant. Excellent. So, right, this is really a neat one. So this is what I wanted to share. So this is what I really wanted to share, because this is a really neat one. So this is an example of something that I actually built during the period of home learning, when lots of kids in Scotland and across the UK were all learning at home. And one of the things I built was essentially a kind of heat map around activity to make it really visible to school leaders and to whether it's the leadership in a multiple academy of trust or a school district in the US or whoever, to let them see the hotspots of activity around our schools, and looking at like the percentage number of students who are logging in, engaging with content, accessing Classroom, accessing Meet, and so on. So I kind of built this kind of heat map from analytics, really just from some scripts to look at logins and to look at activity, and then to drop that into Google Sheets in actual fact, and then link that through as a data source live through to Data Studio. And what this does, and I've got a video on this, and I've got some video links in this later on in the deck later on, is it when you've got this, it will show the bigger the circle, the higher the percentage number of students in that particular school, in this case, who are signing in regularly every 7 days and accessing content and so on. So that's it. That's in there, and that's a useful kind of thing if you're interested in analytics and pulling data out of the Google Admin Console to make it visible and informative. That's one of the ways to do it. So there's a couple of things here you can look at that might be useful to you if analytics and automating that is of use to you. I've got a couple of videos there. One is a script to list all your Google Classrooms. So that will gather and lift up all of the data out across your domain for every Google Classroom that's running. And it will include lifting up things like the last time it was active, the join codes and such. So that's a script that you can use for that. And the script itself, you can just download from either of those links, I believe. And the other one is that geolocation login dashboard, which is basically surfaces what's the percentage engagement of students across different sites based on the location of the site and the students' actual logins, because the students will be in an OU that belongs to that particular site. So there's some stuff that you can go and have a look at. Some of it might be use. Today was really just about sharing some ideas around analytics, sharing the classroom dashboard that's available now in Data Studio. And yeah, that's kind of me for today.
Thank you, Charlie.
Thank you, Charlie. It was really interesting, and I think I can agree with them, Evans. I will have to repeat it. I will have to watch it again and then again. Yes, we have one more question, so you can see it.
Oh yeah, from Declan. Yeah, Declan, it's only for Education Standard and Education Plus. So being able to export from BigQuery to Data Studio, yeah, it requires the premium versions there, Declan. Yeah, if anybody wants a quick demo of that, we can, myself or Charlie can demo this anytime with the school. Or Dan, of course.
Thank you. Thank you. So I would like to ask if anyone else has a question, feel free to send it via the comment, via the chat. So feel free to use it. But anyway, Charlie, thank you so much for joining us for your presentation. James, Dan, do you have any questions or any comments you would like to add?
It's Dan on mute still.
Then we can't hear you.
Yeah, you think I would have figured this out by now? No, I was just going to say, just Declan's point. If you are interested in this, that's a great reason to check out Education Plus. So let us know again if you'd like a trial. We can set it up.
Excellent.
Yeah,
just
follow up on that. Of course, on a trial, you would have access to the BigQuery export as well. So you could actually get a preview of this report on a trial.
Thank you. Thank you. So I would like to add, before we finish, I would like to mention to everyone, feel free to subscribe, watch, like, share, just anything you like. Our videos and our podcast, you can see links on the screen now. So feel free to watch them. You will see a lot of interesting videos from Charlie Love for enterprise topics, and also videos for education as well.
Yeah, can I just say something about the podcast? So, we co-host a podcast, actually myself and John Micton, who's the tech director of the International School of Luxembourg. So we talk to different people working for different international schools. I think we have some great conversations. Please check it out. And if you're interested to come on as a guest, or even if anyone you want to recommend who could be interesting to talk, please just get in touch with me, dan@appsevents.com, or leave a comment here. We're always looking for new people. We release the podcast every 2 weeks. Both people who've commented, Tim and Declan, have been on the podcast. So let us know. We're always looking for new guests.
Thank you. Also, I would like to say thanks to Acer, our great partner. We are able to run these free events just to this great partnership. So thanks, Acer. Feel free to submit the survey as you get a chance to win a free seat for our upcoming event. Also, again, just a reminder about our ST certification courses. You can see our upcoming cohort sessions. So if you have any additional questions about that, feel free to contact James. And I think this is also a great topic to highlight. James, Dan, would you like to mention a bit more about the Connected School Conference planned for the beginning of October?
Yeah, there's a small change to this actually. So we were going to be running this in person in Bangkok. Unfortunately, that can't happen. So we're going to run it online, completely free. It's now only the 2nd of October, so Saturday the 2nd. So we're going to send out
in the middle.
Exactly, Saturday. We've got multiple streams. James, you want to say a bit about who we've got? Any speakers we've got?
Yeah, we're going to announce the schedule a little bit later this week. We've got loads of amazing speakers. Of course, City, I think, is joining us. YouTube star, and then Tim Evans, you mentioned in the chat. We've got lots of people joining, but we'll share the schedule out later this week.
Yeah, and we're covering not just Google, we're covering other technologies, and we're also covering the broader topics like digital citizenship, security, things like that. So we can have multiple threads. It's not multiple threads. It's not just a Google event, completely free. It's going to be recorded, so please check it out. It's a great way just to spend. It's going to be quite a short day, like a morning session. So, and it's going to be on Asian time. We're focusing this on people from Asia and the Middle East, although obviously, anyone can watch it from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good chance to grab a coffee. It's going to be late morning in Asia, very, very early morning, I think, for you, Dan, in Europe. Yeah. But yeah, sort of on a Saturday, great chance to grab a coffee and listen to a couple of sessions.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much. So I think that we can finish. Thank you, Charlie, again. Thank you, James, for joining us. I know that it's late afternoon for you now in Bangkok. And thank you, Dan, as well. Thank you. It was really nice company, as always.
Thank you, Veronica. Awesome hosting, Veronica.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. And we are looking forward to meeting you next time. Thank you. Bye.